Bruce Lee had heard it many times before, but this time it was said directly to his face. The men in the room did not mock him or raise their voices. They smiled calmly, the kind of smile that suggests certainty. They believed speed was impressive only until it met real power. According to them, power always ended the conversation. Bruce did not argue. He never did. He knew that words never changed belief. Only moments did. The room itself felt heavy. It smelled of sweat, old wood, and quiet tension. There were no cameras and no crowd, only a small group of witnesses who wanted proof. Bruce was the smallest man there. Across from him stood a fighter built like a wall, wide shoulders, thick fists, a body shaped by raw force. This man had knocked others down with a single punch. Many in the room already believed the outcome was decided. Someone suggested a simple test, one exchange, nothing more. Bruce removed his shoes not to prepare but out of habit. Small habits often reveal confidence. The room grew quiet, not silent but watchful. The fighter across from him laughed softly and kept his guard low. It was not arrogance, it was comfort. He had never needed caution before. Bruce stepped forward slowly. His eyes were not fixed on the man's fists or face. They followed something else entirely, balance. Power depends on weight and weight depends on stability. Stability, Bruce knew, disappears faster than strength. Later, Bruce would remember thinking they think speed means rushing. They do not understand speed at all. A whisper moved through the room. Someone said Bruce was too small. Bruce had heard that sentence his entire life. The fighter finally raised his arms, but by then, time had already slipped away. Speed was not about moving fast. It was about arriving before thought could form. Bruce struck once. The movement was small, controlled, and precise. There was no dramatic sound, no wide swing, but the effect was immediate. The man's body reacted before his mind understood what had happened. His posture collapsed inward. Air rushed from his lungs. He dropped to his knees, not in pain but in shock, unable to breathe properly. The room changed instantly, not emotionally but physically. Belief had just cracked. Bruce stepped back. He did not smile or bow. This was not victory to him. It was a demonstration. Someone finally asked how it was possible. That question, Bruce knew, always comes too late. He answered simply, "Power needs time. Speed removes time." Weeks later, the doubt returned in a different city and a different room. This time they brought someone smarter, someone disciplined, a man who would not underestimate Bruce. The fighter studied Bruce carefully, watching every movement. That was his mistake. When you study speed, you are already behind it. The man circled Bruce cautiously. Bruce did not move. That unsettled him. Fighters who rely on power expect reactions. Speed does not need them. When the man finally attacked, Bruce did not block. He was already inside the space the strike was meant to control. The punch missed not because it was slow, but because it aimed at where Bruce had been, not where he would be. Bruce touched the man's shoulder lightly, nothing more. The fighter's balance disappeared instantly. He stumbled, confused, his power useless without control. Bruce stopped again. Silence followed, heavier than before. Someone finally spoke and said that speed was invisible. Bruce disagreed silently. Speed was not invisible, it was misunderstood. At night, Bruce understood something deeper. These men were not afraid of speed itself. They were afraid of losing certainty. If speed could defeat power, then size stopped being truth. And when truth changes, fear follows. This moment was never recorded or published. It did not fit the story people wanted to believe. But quiet rooms like this existed everywhere, and in those rooms, speed had always won. Yet Bruce also knew something else. The hardest test was still coming. Not power, not size, fear. And that test would push speed closer to failure than anything before. The next test did not come with laughter or doubt. It came quietly. Bruce Lee could feel it the moment he entered the room. This was not a place built for ego. The air felt tighter, the silence heavier. The people watching were not hoping to be impressed. They were waiting to see something break. The man chosen this time was not larger than Bruce, but he was not smaller either. What made him different was his stillness. He did not stretch. He did not pace. He stood with his hands relaxed and his eyes steady. Fighters like this do not rush because they do not need to. They wait for mistakes. Bruce noticed it instantly. This man did not believe power alone would win. He believed control would. That belief made him dangerous. Bruce moved first, but only slightly. The man did not react. That alone was unusual. Most fighters respond to movement, even small ones. This man did not. He watched. He measured. Bruce realized something important in that moment. Speed works best when it creates panic. This man felt none. The exchange began slowly, too slowly for the people watching. The man circled Bruce carefully, keeping distance, cutting angles, never stepping too close. Bruce stayed centered, conserving energy, reading patterns. For the first time, speed was not dominating the room. Control was. Then it happened. The man stepped in just enough to invite an attack. Bruce moved instantly, striking toward the opening. But the opening was not real. The man shifted his weight at the last second, absorbing the movement, redirecting it. Bruce felt it. Not pain, resistance. That was rare. The room reacted, not loudly but internally. They sensed it too. Bruce adjusted, moving faster, sharper, changing rhythm. The man stayed calm. Each time Bruce entered, the man was already prepared. Not blocking, not countering aggressively, just removing space. Speed needs space to breathe. That space was disappearing. Bruce took a step back, not retreating, recalculating. Later, Bruce would remember thinking, this is what control feels like when it challenges speed. The man was not trying to win quickly. He was trying to slow time itself. The next exchange came faster. Bruce moved in low, then high, changing levels. The man responded perfectly, staying balanced, never overcommitting. For the first time that day, Bruce felt pressure. Not fear, but awareness. One mistake here would not be forgiven. The watching crowd leaned forward. They had expected dominance. Instead, they were witnessing resistance. Then the man did something unexpected. He stopped moving entirely. Bruce paused. This stillness was intentional. It was a trap. Bruce advanced carefully. The moment he crossed the invisible line, the man exploded forward with precision, not power. It was fast, too fast to ignore. Bruce shifted just enough to avoid direct impact, but he felt it brush past him. That was close. Very close. The room reacted now, not with sound but with belief shifting again. Speed was no longer untouchable. It could be challenged. Bruce stepped away, breathing controlled, face calm. Inside, his mind was adjusting rapidly. Speed alone would not end this. Something else was needed. The man smiled slightly, not confidently, respectfully. He knew what had just happened. He had pushed speed to its edge. This was the moment where many fighters would force the outcome. Bruce did the opposite. He slowed down. That confused everyone. The man hesitated, unsure why pressure had disappeared. Bruce changed his stance, lowered his center, reduced movement to almost nothing. Speed was still there, but it was hidden now. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time felt unclear. Then Bruce moved. Not forward, not sideways. Inside. Before the man could react, Bruce disrupted his balance with a movement so small it almost went unnoticed. It was not a strike. It was a shift. The man adjusted too late. His control slipped for just a moment. That moment was enough. Bruce ended the exchange without force, without drama. The man stepped back, breathing harder now, eyes focused differently. He understood. Control had limits. Even patience could be outpaced when timing was perfect. The room stayed silent long after it ended. No one spoke. They had just witnessed something rare. Speed had not overwhelmed control. It had outlasted it. But Bruce knew the truth. This fight had been too close. And the next challenge would not be patient. It would be brutal. The last challenge did not come from skill or control. It came from fear. The next opponent did not wait, did not study, and did not hesitate. He rushed with raw force, ignoring balance, ignoring defense. It was chaos. For the first time, speed alone was not enough. Bruce felt a strike graze him, sharp enough to remind him how close failure really was. The room tensed. One mistake here would end everything. Bruce did not push forward. He did not retreat. He changed intention. Instead of escaping the force, he entered it, redirecting the motion at the exact moment it peaked. The opponent lost structure instantly. Power collapsed under its own weight. It ended without celebration. Bruce stepped back, breathing steady, expression unchanged. The lesson was clear now. Speed was never meant to fight power alone. It was meant to guide it, control it, and decide when the fight was already over. No records were kept, no footage survived, but everyone in that room understood the truth. Speed does not replace power, it completes it. And that was the moment Bruce Lee stopped proving himself to others and started defining his own path.